tinker less this week and hopefully not freeze anything.
Yeah.
I think I have you live.
Last week was a heavy tinker week, which is what this show is for in a large part. There's the Facebook watch party. Right on cue. We don't get the ice machine anymore. That's the thing about moving to Studio C is you can't hear the ice machine doing its thing right now in like another part of the house.
I just crashed Facebook.
And Hillary broke Facebook.
So give me just a second. Hopefully I can do this another way that doesn't break Facebook. And then I'll turn on Instagram. We'll do the thing that I usually do, or used to do, or something. Which is literally talk for a minute and hope that nobody thinks that Tim is frozen. So hopefully...
It's bizarre because I don't manage tech at all, like not even a little bit. So like this screen that I'm looking at now is totally different than any screen I've ever seen before for doing this show. So I literally have no idea what Hillary is doing.
I apparently crashed Facebook, but did correctly start the watch party. So I'm going to start Instagram, and we should be good to go.
Hey, we're ready?
I think so. We should also tonight, because I'm... Okay, we're still tinkering a little bit, but not in a way that should crash anything. Actually have chat available. Maybe not from the watch party, but chat available in the screen that Tim's looking at that he's confused by.
Yeah, totally. I've never seen the screen before.
So, we're good.
Hey, we're live.
Rolling.
We're rolling?
Yep.
Okay. Welcome to Crazy Cabin Fever Cocktails, episode 42. Brought to you by Distilled Living and Fascination Design. My name is Tim Little. So we're going to do two cocktails real quick. We're getting a late start. We're kind of always getting a late start, but that's because we're doing a gazillion virtual bourbon tastings. I counted them this afternoon. It's a gazillion. That's the actual number. Tonight we're going to do two cocktails. We're going to do another sponsored, supported by Hartfield and Company. They don't give us any money, but they give us products, so it's supported. We didn't intend to do two in a row from them, but it just the mixers that we were working with worked really well with their products. So that's just how we're rolling.
And I kind of felt bad about how much we froze last week, so.
We did freeze a lot last week. But we're now up to 3 primary studios. We have 3 more studios, maybe 4 in development. The tech is getting crazy. We are really moving. We already have days where we have booked 7 to 8 virtual bourbon tastings at once in one day.
Not at once. Not simultaneously.
Over the course of the day.
If it were simultaneously, I have an outdoor studio I would have committed to, but we are still
right. But we do have
all over the place in terms of
Yeah, we do have some days coming up with 4 simultaneous and 8 over the course of the day, and more rolling in every day. So thank you again for everybody who's helped us grow by watching the show and giving us feedback and letting us know when our experiments in tech development work and when they don't work. Let's drink some cocktails. We may have already had a bourbon tasting today. There may have been some Basil Hayden in between that bourbon tasting and tonight. I'm just saying. Okay.
For Tim.
For me, anyway. I did a nice highball with a little grenadine. It was actually pretty nice. I don't normally drink Basil Hayden. It's a little, not my flavor profile, but that worked. So, we decided to pull out the Velvet Falernum. We haven't worked with this in a while. This is a Caribbean bitter liqueur. And obviously it's designed for rum. And we have some Hartfield and Company aged rums. This is aged in their used nano bourbon barrels. And we're just going to do basically mojito with it. Because that was the flavor profile that we were going with it. We haven't actually done this kind of a cocktail on this show. So I have my lime, which I've been rubbing. We had to put the lime in the refrigerator for a brief period of time. So I've tried to get it to warm up. But when you refrigerate citrus, and a lot of restaurants store their citrus refrigerated, it really shouldn't be, you lose an enormous amount of the juice and the flavor profile. Getting it back up to at least room temperature, even warming up your citrus, will get more juice out of it. And then pressing it. So I'm breaking the cells even before I go to juice my citrus. And this is going to be, we're working with citrus, we're working with mint, we're working with, this is going to be our simple replacement. It's just basically going to be a mojito with Velvet Falernum. So this is going to be a shaken cocktail, obviously. Because we have different textures. Hello. Didn't mean to put that much ice in there. Different textures of the different liquids that we have in place for this one. So I'm going to start with the citrus element. I like a hefty citrus. So I'm going to think about this as a 2-1-1 accent cocktail. So I'm going to be looking for 1 full ounce of this lime juice. And you can see off to my right there, the highball glass. I've already got the ice in it that this is going to go into. So this is going to get shaken to properly integrate it and get the texture right. And then it's just going to go over fresh ice to make it a nice, refreshing drink. Even though we're getting into fall, this is totally not the right time. It's still going to be delicious. That's what I care about. Okay, so see how close I got to an ounce. Not enough. So I'm going to need a little bit more. Oops. There you go. All right, plenty of citrus. Sometimes I do this in advance. Tonight there wasn't much in advance of the show.
Last 2 weeks there wasn't much in
Last 2
advance
No.
of the show. Tim was trying to eat dinner.
I was actually. I got about halfway through dinner before the show.
I got 0 of the way through dinner before the show.
All right, so I got my 1 ounce of citrus that I'm going to start with, and like as if I was doing a mint mint julep, I'm going to look for a nice big sprig of mint. Our mint is starting to suffer a little bit outside.
It's not just outside. We've been picking all the large pieces off too.
We've been getting a lot of requests for mixology events, which are great, but have been churning through the mint. So I like.
I thought the one that you started with actually probably looked the best.
This is the one that was the best. Yeah. So this is going to be a good looking sprig for the end. I'm going to preserve the top 3 leaves for the garnish, and then all the other leaves are going to go down into my shaker. So this is 2-1-1. So this is it's going to be slightly on the sweeter side. This is going to be 2 ounces of my base spirit, an ounce of my sweet, an ounce of my sour, and then just that little bit of accent of the mint leaves. So I'm going to do an ounce of the Velvet Falernum. It's interesting. We bought this as part of a request, actually, this bottle, to integrate, to try to work some cocktails that used the Velvet Falernum with bourbon, which we did. You can go back and see those in the archives. And we reached for it occasionally at first, but we haven't gone back to it much this summer, so I'm excited to be pulling it out again. All right, so now I have all my ingredients in my shaker. I'm going to make a ton of noise.
Maybe.
Maybe.
I changed the settings on the mic again. There's a chance that so Instagram is running completely separate.
So let us know if this is really, really loud or not. Oh, it smells amazing already. Oh, hello. I overshook that just a little because I'm not able to break the seal on my shaker. So I think I might have grabbed an unmatched set. There we go. Because that was a little more difficult than it should be. I don't have any extra lime to garnish this with lime like it would traditionally get. And I really, really should use double strain because I'm getting some flecks and stuff of the mint in there. But I'm saving my double strainer for the next cocktail. Because I'm really concerned about the next cocktail's texture. So when we think about cocktails, you can think about it as composing across the appearance of the cocktail, the aroma of the cocktail, the temperature of the cocktail, the taste of the cocktail, and the texture of the cocktail. And this is going to be nice. It's going to be fine. I could have modified the texture a little bit, double straining it, but I won't have the opportunity to clean my fine mesh strainer before I move to the next one. The next one, I really, really want to nail the texture. Because we've never done this cocktail before or used this ingredient at all. And so I want to see how close I can get to a really amazing cocktail on the first try. All right, so. Ooh, this is nice. It's really good. It's really different. That is not the flavor profile I expected for that one. It lingers a lot. It's really interesting. We just get the sweet classic mojito on the front, but the finish is all the falernum, like all the spice, a light bitter like rises on the end. That's actually very
That works
refreshing.
really well together, and
That-
the aged rum really matters here.
That-
It brings out the age.
It really does. That's a really great point. We're picking up these two components together pretty well. I would honestly think this would be good with a little touch of seltzer.
Yeah, just for the sparkling aspect,
Yeah, I
but
just
not
think
much. Not much.
it's a little thick. It's a little heavy with that much sugar base.
You also don't like sugary drinks.
That's true. Okay, so that's the first one. Now, I'm reusing my shaker, which is going to be fine. It's going to influence a little bit of the flavor of what I just did, but I think it's going to be okay when we're
Are
going
you
to
sure
do
that
this.
that's going to be okay? Because we're doing something. Let's.
Do you want to grab another
Yeah,
shaker?
give me a second.
Just going to grab me another shaker. So put this one away. Is that really loud? Just going to throw that in one of the comments on one of the umpteen platforms that we're on, please, if that was excessively loud.
This one's
okay.
just going to be so weird. I'm a little concerned that
All right.
it's not going to work well with your leftover.
So that was a nice Velvet Falernum, Hartfield and Company aged rum mojito. That would be that how you would order that drink at a bar. So Hillary grabbed out of our pantry because we're struggling with like crazy ingredients for crazy cabin fever cocktails. Red pepper jelly. So this is a little bit of heat in this jelly, but not a whole lot. It's a lot of sweet. It's a lot of earth and rich character. And she was like, "Oh, what do we do with this?" Let's find something. No, actually, this has got a fair bit of heat on it.
It's similar to jalapeno jelly. There's a lot of sweetness to it.
Yep.
But it's got a little bit more of the flavor profile of like a red bell pepper. It is a spicy jelly though, but
Yep.
great with burritos.
It has actually apple cider vinegar, citric acid, dehydrated onions, and capsicum in it. So it is actually going to have some heat, more heat than you would expect off of just a regular bell pepper. Hillary's, describing it as a little bit like a jalapeno jelly, which we really, really like. So we started with this, trying to find a spirit base that was going to work with this. Obviously, I went straight to an agave, or even a mezcal. We didn't grab the mezcal. Instead, we grabbed the Los Hermanos, which I think we used actually last week.
Yes.
Okay, and you can see I want this to be up, served in a coupe. So I've got my coupe chilling right there. I'm going to put a little bit of ice into my shaker. And I've been thinking about the proportions since we've been thinking about this cocktail about 10 minutes ago. Normally you do like a 2-1-1, but this is bringing so much sugar. I want to treat it as a 1 part, I think, on its own.
Yes.
So I think I'm going to go with 2 ounces of the agave spirit and 1 ounce, which is going to be 2 tablespoons of the red pepper jelly. I think this is where we're going to go with this. We'll start with red pepper jelly because it's cheaper than the spirit. So 1 ounce is going to be 2 tablespoons. So I have a tablespoon measure that I'm going to use to kind of figure this out. Get as close as possible. Okay, so that was a little bit of a rounded tablespoon there. Ooh.
I'm thinking 2 tablespoons is going to be a little rough, especially in terms of trying to get it to integrate.
That's why I was going to double strain it at the end.
Okay.
I did bring a fresh spoon for this.
Okay.
It may be too strong. Maybe I do 1.5 tablespoons?
Yeah.
All right, so that was a little bit of a rounded, so I'm going to do a little under a tablespoon.
You get to watch us making these on the fly in terms of like figuring out the recipe. As always, we'll put the recipe online afterwards.
So
If we have to really adjust this one,
It's about 3/4.
we'll let you know.
So it's going to be about 1.5 tablespoons of the red pepper jelly. Yeah, there was a time I remember at some point in the distant past where on this show we actually like planned the recipes out in advance. Okay.
Actually, we've always kind of had like a little bit of here and there, a little bit of let's make this recipe live in front of everybody and hope it's okay. I don't think we've had any that are bad though.
No, actually we haven't. We've had some we've had to tweak. And the recipe online is the better recipe potentially than what we showed in the show. Just the aroma on this. Sorry. That is just fantastic. This is going to be effort to integrate. Obviously, this would be great frozen. You throw this in the blender and you get instant integration. You get exactly what you want. So this one I'm listening to hear when the texture changes and when I think that all of the jelly has been completely broken down, liquefied, and integrated into the spirit. Do you hear that change? I don't know if everyone else can hear that change.
I'm not
Same thing. Like we can see, this is way over chilled. Ideally, I would have broken up because in a bar setting, I would have broken up the jelly in advance. I would have taken like a frappe mixer or something to it, even before I put in the ice in the shaker. Holy crap, that smells good. Okay. So now I have my nicely chilled coupe. And here I really wanted to pay a lot of attention to the texture, so I reserved my only fine mesh strainer for this cocktail because I really don't want any particulate, any ice. I want this to be very much a continuous, consistent texture on the palate. All right, so now what I need to do, I'll put a little bit on the side, is I need to, so I do have enough solids from the peppers that just were not going to integrate and that I don't want in my final cocktail, that I need to rub it around in the strainer. And actually I have a little bit of solids even from the sugar and the jelly that didn't dissolve. So you can see like I have a clump. I don't know how you can see that.
Yeah.
But I have this like spoonful of stuff that would have changed the texture of my drink. Yeah. The color.
It's a nice color.
The texture, right? Beautiful. That is freaking amazing. It's not going to be an everyday drinker.
Oh, that's... I'm sorry.
So good.
No.
You don't like it?
I'm sorry. No.
No.
One win, one fail. I think it's just...
Yeah, this one. Oh, that's nice.
That's going to be for a very particular drink. Somebody who likes savory and is planning on eating burritos, probably. Like, honestly... Okay, I'm sorry. Apparently he's in love with it.
Oh, this is nice.
Normally I'm in agreement with him on most things or can see it. I can see it. I just can't see that many people liking it.
No. This is going to be a limited
I'd say this is like a 5 to 10% of people are actually going to like that drink. I'm sorry. It made this one really bad.
You need to flush your palate with something.
I know. Sorry. So that is part of...
Flush your palate.
That's okay. We'll deal. Anyway,
That's so nice.
as always, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time next Wednesday. We're trying to keep it to exactly 9. Sometimes we're a little bit late because this is a free show for everybody. Do you have anything to add? Recipes will go online later.
Yes.
Sometimes later might be a little later than it used to be. Sorry.
Like later in the week, possibly. So
I don't
hey,
even want to admit to what I'm thinking. So go ahead.
like later, like next week maybe. No, we'll do our best to get it up soon. So anyway, so you see kind of where we are with trying to figure stuff out. We point out the red pepper jelly and stuff like that. If you have any suggestions, stuff you got in your pantry that we might have here that we could do some interesting, crazy cocktail with, please send those suggestions our way.
And as always, see you
Next
next
week.
week. Cheers.
Cheers. That's delicious.